I don't know about this series, guys. I mean, the nature of being a reviewer is that we have to point out the good and the bad, and it's not always fun to point out the bad, but that's what you have to do. People are here to hear our opinions about this. So with ACCA 13, episode 6, we're at the halfway point, and I feel like we still haven't got anywhere, and it's becoming really maddening to deal with a main character that is so unaware, so nonchalant like Gene is. This guy just wants to smoke and do his job, and that's all he cares about doing, and that's ultimately bringing this series down as well. But I guess the biggest thing about it, I mean, it's to the point where I don't want to just say fuck it and stop watching it, but at the same time, it's not holding my interest and is losing that more and more by the week, because I got a feeling that that big aha moment that we're waiting for this series isn't going to come to like episode 10 or 11, and then by that point, we're already going to be at the end of the series. And as I was watching this episode, guys, honestly, I was just looking at the timer, just seeing how much time I had left, because it just felt like it was going on and on and on. And the thing about this series, and something that it does really well, is that it sprinkles little things within that you have to pay attention to and catch that will continue to hold your interest, because we're learning more and more about this coup d'etat by the week. But how much longer can they do that before we finally all break and say, you know what, I'm done with this series? I mean, honestly, at this point, I wouldn't blame anybody if they're not watching this series anymore. Me personally, it's at the halfway point and I haven't dropped it yet, so I might as well keep going. And I say that with a heavy heart because I'm patient. I am patient. I'm waiting on this series to build up. I'm waiting on this series to get better, but it's just failing to impress me and hold my interest. Even though we do got some things out there that we can theory craft, and that's the biggest flaw of ACCA 13. But probably my main gripe is Gene as a main character. I mean, he's just so uncaring and nonchalant about things. This guy's a building manager, as a matter of fact, and he says he doesn't even know who the landlord is. I mean, come on, isn't this somebody that you're supposed to communicate with all the time? He just ho-hum goes through his life. He found out that his friend of like 30 years was spying on him. He was just like, okay, cool. And in this episode, he finally comes to the realization that he is being used as a person that go around to gather intel. Of course, as a viewer, we knew this, and this was pretty much laid out to him by Mav last week, or Mave, or however you pronounce it. And now he's just realizing, he's like, wait a minute, my job is to go around to all these districts and get intel on this coup d'etat. So maybe I need to start doing my job and reporting it back to people. And it's like, duh, you're just figuring it out, dude, come on. And I mean, immediately he sung like a canary to Grosslar about Crow. He's kind of like, you know what, he might not have told you the truth. I mean, this guy's pretty crafty, so he probably was holding some things back that he was telling you that he's supposed to report. He told him about people speculating that Grosslar may be a sympathizer or even behind the coup, but we get a little bit of information on why he feels that way. As we learned last week, he holds Grosslar into a very high regard, so he may have eased the suspicion on him a little bit by coming to him and telling him these things, and also letting him know that Grosslar, for all intents and purposes, is somebody that he admires. And the reason why is that we found out that Gene and his sister's parents died, and we didn't know how, but this week we found out they died in a train wreck that took place between two districts. And at that time, Grosslar was like the district, I guess the district manager, I don't know exactly what the title was, of one of the two districts, because they were basically just pointing fingers at each other at whose fault it was for the tracks being faulty in this train, ultimately crashing and causing the death of many people, including Gene's parents. And he got the respect of Gene, or Grosslar began to look up from Gene from that point, because he decided to take all the responsibility on his district by saying, you know what, we'll eat the responsibility, we'll just say it's our fault. But with this happening, we should take this railroad and make it property of the ACCA, because the ACCA are here to protect the people, right? So yeah, I'll take this one. My country or my district will take the blame for this, but this railroad is going to be everybody's responsibility. And when he did that, he kind of looked up to Grosslar ever since then. So that's why he came to him and said, you know what, you kind of changed my life. You are the reason why I do the things that I do. And this is why I'm telling you that there's people out there thinking that you are behind this, and I'm stuck in this too. We're basically in the same boat. And Grosslar, you know, I guess he kind of commended him for that as well, but he was kind of like, ah, you're so naive, because he still probably suspects something's up with Gene, and I do as well. But also the other 4 chief officers at this point, they also revealed to Grosslar that we said to Gene, I think his name was Illumi, or not Illumi, I'm thinking of Hunter or Ilium. He said that, you know, I told Gene about Crow and what's going on with him as a way to force his hand, because they said, look, we're in this together. We need to know what's going on with you and Gene, especially if we're supposed to work together. If you want to raise a suspicion on you, then you gotta start letting us in on this. So we finally get a little bit, I guess, of character development for Gene realizing his role in this series, and with Grosslar as well, because maybe Grosslar would see him in a different light, knowing that he impacted Gene so much. Unfortunately, not everybody's happy with Gene's performance. I mean, Mabe, she's basically done with this dude. She's wiping his hands with him, like, if you don't have anything to report to me, then you're no longer useful. She's already hired her own team to essentially go out and do what he's supposed to do and bring in intel to her, because she's not exactly sold on Grosslar not being involved. So she's going to take matters into his own hands. But other than that, the majority of the episode dealt with a party. I mean, it was New Year's Eve. It's the 100th birthday of this country. And now with Gene trying to hash things out with Grosslar, it kind of sends the series into a new direction as far as who's behind the coup. I mean, Prince Swan, I never really didn't suspect him anyway, but we see that he has something cooking up. I don't think he's smart enough to be behind the coup himself, but that advisor with him, I think that's definitely somebody out to do something nefarious to basically get Rule going. So I think now, if it's anybody that may be behind it, it may be this person in particular. But that's pretty much all we got until next week, and we just have to wait until then to see how it fares out. Also with Mabe, she went back to her old district, and when she was talking to the leaders there, she got an uneasy feeling when she told them about the coup. It was definitely kind of like, you know, they kind of brushed it off like everybody else did, but she just didn't feel easy about it at all, sending things into another direction with this series. And I don't think they're mentioning Gene's parents for just to have it out there. I still hold on to that theory that perhaps Gene's parents had something to do, and this coup has probably been building up for a very long time, especially with Crow watching him for so long. It probably has something to do with his parents. Maybe his parents are spies, maybe he is a spy. It's still there. The thing is, they keep stringing us along. We only got 6 episodes left, so if that's the case, I honestly need them to get to it within the next 2 episodes. So yeah, that was the episode in a nutshell, guys. Let me know what you think of this series, of this episode overall. If you liked the video, go ahead and drop a like, and if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and let me know what you think about this series and your theories as well, and I'll catch up with you guys later. Thank you very much for joining me. As I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me. I really appreciate that, so thanks for stopping by. On that note, it's your boy Scott signing out. See you soon.